Hi there, seventh graders. Today we are going to extend on the ideas we started looking at with the speed reading task, how we can use this proportional reasoning and the idea of y equals kx to help us answer further questions. So last standard, all we really did was figure out how to write the equation to say, okay, it's proportional, so I can find k, and I can write this equation y equals kx. Now we're going to take it a step further and actually use y equals kx to answer another question. So to show you what I mean, everybody get out page 46 and something to write with. The top half of this paper reviews precisely what I was just talking about, things from the last standard. So it says right here, review for each proportional relationship, define your variables and write an equation. This is a review. Let's give it a try. Number one, Kristen is buying wooden letters for a craft project. Her total cost was $20 for 8 letters. So notice in this scenario, that's all it tells me. It gives me one pair of information. And that's why this is a review, because that's like what we did last standard. Now, this is a super duper important part as we move forward. This idea of assigning the variable is so important, because as soon as you know what X and Y are, then you can know how to find K. Do you remember when we did unit rates, the order of that division was so important. And so that's why it's so important that we understand what our variables are. So once again, you have to assign the variables. Knowing your variables will help you know how to do your division. Because if you do your division wrong, then your equation's all messed up. And that's a big problem. So I'm going to say I have $20 and 8 letters. I'm going to say that variable one, I'm even going to call it X. Variable one is X is the letters, the number of letters. And I'll show you why I'm setting it up this way. And then I'm going to say that variable two is the cost or the dollars. And the reason I'm setting it up that way, because now I'm going to change colors and I'm going to write off to the side here. The reason I am setting it up that way is because I know to find K, I want to do y over x. And I know that when money is involved, because we've done this a ton with unit rates, I know when money is involved, it goes on top. So I purposefully made my dollars y, because I knew that would make more sense in the problem, because it was going to go on the top for my unit rate or my constant of proportionality. So K equals dollars over letters. 20 divided by 8. We all good with that? So I'm going to go 20 divided by 8, and K is actually 2.5, which means now I am ready to write an equation, y equals 2.5x. Now, if I had not paid attention to that order and I'd mixed this up, or I assigned things and I accidentally did y over x, then this equation would not work. Because what we're saying with this setup is we're saying that the total cost, the dollars, is equal to 2.5 times the number of letters. What we're saying here is that it's $2.50 per letter. So since it's per letter, we better be timesing by letters, and we better make sure that x represents letters. All of that has to go together, otherwise my equation does not work. Let's try that again. Number 2, Chase drives his hybrid vehicle to work each day. Last week, he traveled 150 miles on 3 gallons of gas. So if I think to myself that I want to figure out miles per gallon, which is a very common calculation with vehicles, miles per gallon, that actually means, and I'm going to change the letters just to make sure you guys can adjust. It doesn't really matter if you call it X or Y. What matters is how you put it together. So what if I say that variable one is G for gallons, and variable two is M for miles? Okay, this is like X and Y. So I'm going to write that here so I remember. That's like X and Y, just like over here. I just changed the letters just to prove that the letters can be whatever. I just have to follow the patterns. So to find K, I'm going to do Y over X or M over G, right? M over G. Got to follow the same patterns. In this case, m over g is 150 over 3, which is 50, which means my equation is, I could write y equals 50x, but I changed the letters, so I better follow the letters I used. Do I write g equals or m equals? Well, whichever one was y needs to come first. Follow your patterns. The m, or the number of miles, is equal to 50g. The number of miles is equal to 50 times the number of gallons, because you're getting 50 miles per gallon, which is insane, by the way. That's a crazy high mileage. Most cars do, I think only like electric cars get that. Okay, number 3. Tessa rides her bike to work at a constant rate. She travels 4.5 miles in 50 minutes. So let's think about what's going to make sense here. Do I want miles per minute? Oh yeah, that's probably what I would do, because we always say that time goes on the bottom. And if time goes on the bottom, we're going to let it be x. I'm going to go back to x and y for this one, make sure we're seeing the pattern. So x is minutes and y is miles. So to calculate k, I'm going to have y over x, which is miles over minutes. Be careful here. Miles over minutes. People want to do it the other way because they want the big one on the top. You could, but you'd have to redefine your variables to make sure your equation matches. So 4.5 divided by 50 is 0.09. So my final equation is y equals 0.09x. That means she traveled at 0.09 miles per minute. It's pretty fast. Okay. Number 4, Dallas wants to buy a new set of 12 golf clubs. The entire set costs $225. Remember, money goes on top. So I'm going to say y equals dollars. And that leaves x to be number of golf clubs. It's really, really important for these problems that we're doing moving forward that you have your brain wrapped around what is x and what is y. And you'll see why in the second half of this paper. But k equals dollars over golf clubs, y over x. So I'm going to show myself that so I remember what I typed in here. That $18.75 means it's $18.75 per golf club. And that means now my equation is going to work according to how I assigned the variables. The total dollars is equal to 18.75 times the number of golf clubs. Okay, that's really just a review of how we assign the variables and how we write the equation. Now, let's take it a step farther with these next 4 questions. This part says, for each proportional relationship, we're still going to define our variables and we're still going to write an equation, but now we have a little bit more. Now we are going to use the equation to actually answer a question. And you can tell there's more to these because it gives us the first statement. Luciana earned $350 for 7 weeks of mowing lawns. And then after that, it asks us a question. So that first sentence is where we stopped up here. So actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this first sentence to start this whole process, just like I did on the top of the paper. Before I move forward, let's just use that first sentence. So, and they give me hints here. Look, W is probably weeks, and M is mowed lawns. But again, and it's okay if you relabel it to get your patterns in place, that's like X and Y, okay? All right, so I'm going to use that now to calculate K, and I'm gonna write it up here to make sure future me knows exactly where this came from. I need to do Y over X, or in this case, M over W. She mowed, oh, why did I put mowed lawns? It's not how many lawns, it's how many weeks she did that. Oh my goodness gracious. This is money. M is for money. Money, money, money. M is for the money in dollars. Okay, now we're there. So it's $350 over 7 weeks, which is 50. Okay, I'm ready to write my equation. Y equals 50x. Oh, just kidding. I shouldn't write that either, right? scribbly today. How come I shouldn't write that? Because they redefined the variables. So instead of y equals 50x, I should write m equals 50w. So I don't actually know how many lawns she mowed. I just know how much money she made and how many weeks she did it for. Okay, she did enough to earn about $50 per week. All right, now we are actually ready to answer the rest of this question. So here's what it says. It says, how much money would Luciana earn for mowing lawns for 10 weeks? This is why it is so important that you define your variables. They just gave me some information. Did they give me money or did they give me weeks? They gave me weeks. So I know that they are telling me what W is, and I need to find what M is. Well, I have an equation that's going to help me with that. If I know W, I'm going to plug it in right here. So I'm going to say M equals 50 times 10. M equals 50 times 10. Okay, I just get to multiply that because that's what that operation means. And 50 times 10, the money is $500. Now we are taking it a step further. Now we are saying, okay, I found the equation. I used the first piece of information to find the equation, and now I'm going to use the equation to find more information. Let's try that again. Mateo, here's my first sentence. Mateo spread 100 pepperoni pieces onto 4 pieces. Pizzas. Mateo spread 100 pepperoni pieces onto 4 pizzas. I think it's going to make sense if I do pieces per pizza. So let's try not to be scribbly this time, Miss McGowan. And I'm going to put pizzas for X and pepperoni for Y. That's number of pepperoni pieces. Sounds like a tongue twister. Okay, so before I worry about anything else, I'm going to calculate K. Pepperoni over pizzas, Y over X. Once you define your variables, make sure your K follows that. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So my equation is Y equals 25X. And now look at this. Ooh, this question says, how many pizzas would use that much pepperoni? They gave me pepperoni. Is that X or is that Y? Ooh, this time they're telling me Y and asking me to find X. This time then, where should I plug this in? Not there, but there. I'm going to plug it in right there and watch what happens. So now I have to go 575 equals 25x. Do I just get to multiply on this one like I did over here? Well, that wouldn't make any sense. If they give you x, go ahead and multiply. If they give you y, you have to work backwards using our inverse operations. Divide by 25, divide by 25. 575 divided by 25 is 23. So what I just found is 23 pizzas. They gave me pepperoni. You're always going to be given one variable and then asked to find the other one. So what I would like you guys to do right now is pause this video and try that process on number 7 and number 8. Start by underlining the part that can find K, write your equation, and then use your equation to find the other piece. Go ahead and pause me. Hopefully you guys did a less scribbly job than me. Here, I figured that A needed to be apples and T was time. For years. I'd get confused if I mixed them around, but also this one's X and this one's Y because pounds of apples per year made more sense to me. So it's okay, as you can decide how you want to assign them as long as you follow through the rest of the problem. So calculated 57 over 3, which is 19, and then I accidentally used y and x because I'm so used to that, and I was like, oops, I'm supposed to use a and t. And then they gave me time in years, so I was able to just multiply and figure out pounds of apples. That's a lot of apples Americans eat. And then take a look at number 8. That's y equals 50x. This time they gave me y and had me solve for x. So I am going to right now at the end of this video, hopefully you're all watching through and not just skipping to the end of the notes and then not realizing that Ms. McGowan is saying more important things. I'm going to help you get started on your Canvas quiz right here in this video. So I'm just going to show you what your Canvas quiz looks like. And so as soon as you answer your question for the notes we just took, then you'll move on to this Canvas quiz. And it says a car plant produces about 42,000 cars every 2 months. So this is very similar to what you were just doing. You use that one piece of information to find K. And I even defined the variables for you. So please, 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 please read this part right here really, really closely. This stuff that says let X equal that, because as soon as they tell me what X and Y are, then I know the division I'm supposed to do is of course Y over X. It's hard to write with my mouse like this. So I know I'm supposed to do cars over months. And then I can match that to these words here, and then I will know precisely how to do my division. So on your paper, you'll write Y over X, and then you'll write, okay, that's cars. Look at that good too. 42,000, those are zeros, 42,000 over 2. Totally legible, right? And then you type that in and you'll say, okay, 42,000 divided by 2 is 21,000. So you can type that in. K is just the number. Then your equation is Y equals 21,000. X, do not forget about the X. It's really important and it needs to be there. And then it says finish the ordered pair to make it proportional to this situation. So look at this, it kind of breaks to the next row, but this is just an ordered pair, 12 comma something. So if they give you 12, are they giving you X or Y? They're giving you X, right? The first one in an ordered pair is X. So you can take that 12 and you can plug it in for X in this equation and do 21,000 times 12 and get the big number that you're supposed to type in here. Be careful though, sometimes they give you X and sometimes they give you Y. If you get stuck on any of it, of course, ask me. So now at this point, you're ready to answer your question on Canvas. Answer the notes, submit your answer to the question, click next, and then you'll be ready to start your Canvas quiz.